In the deep, old forest of the human psyche, there are pathways that have been walked for a very long time. These pathways are called archetypes. They are not ghosts, but they are ancient presences. They are the original patterns, the blueprints for our souls. Think of them as the great, sturdy bones of our stories and our dreams. An archetype is a primal character, a deep and knowing part of us all that we recognize without ever having been taught. It is the hero with 1,000 faces, the wise old woman who lives at the edge of the woods, the trickster who rattles our cages so we might become free. These are not just figures in a book. They are alive within us, waiting to be seen. These ancient patterns are the very language of the soul. They speak to us not in plain words, but in feelings, in symbols, in the shiver that runs down our spine when we hear a certain story. They are the echoes of our ancestors, the collective wisdom of all the humans who have ever lived, breathed, and dreamed before us. When we meet an archetype, a part of our own wild nature recognizes a kindred spirit. It is a homecoming. It is the moment the wolf within you lifts its head, its ears perked, recognizing a familiar sound from the world beyond the clearing, a sound it has always known in its blood and bones. Archetypes show up everywhere. They are in the fairy tales our grandmothers told us, whispered by the fireside. They are in the grand myths of gods and goddesses, painted on the ceilings of old temples. And they are in the movies we watch today, striding across the screen, their presence so powerful it fills the entire room. These patterns help us make sense of the world and our place within it. They give us a map to navigate the winding trails of our own lives, showing us the mountains we must climb, the rivers we must cross, and the dark caves where treasure is hidden. They are our guides in the wilderness of being human. So when we speak of archetypes, we are speaking of something sacred and powerful. We are touching the very structure of what it means to be alive. They are the recurring melodies in the grand symphony of humanity, the familiar faces we see in the crowd of our own inner world. They remind us that our personal stories are part of a much larger, much older, and much wilder story. To know the archetypes is to begin to know the deepest, most untamed parts of yourself. It is the beginning of a journey back to the soul's true home, a place of immense power and knowing. Among the great archetypes, there is one who walks cloaked in twilight and whispers. She is the mysterious woman. She is not loud, she does not shout to be seen. Her power comes from her quietness, from the vast, silent world she carries within her. She is the woman who sits by the window, watching the rain fall, and you cannot guess the stories playing behind her eyes. Her silence is not empty, it is full. It is full of thoughts, secrets, and a deep understanding of the world that does not need to be spoken aloud. She knows the power of holding things close, of letting them grow in the fertile darkness of her own soul. This woman is fiercely independent. She does not need another person to complete her, for she is already whole unto herself. She walks her own path, guided by an inner compass that others cannot see. She is the lone wolf, the cat that walks by itself, comfortable in her own company. People might see her as aloof or distant, but in truth she is simply self-possessed. She has built a home within her own heart, a sanctuary that no one can take from her. This independence is her strength, her fortress. It allows her to move through the world with a grace and certainty that is both unnerving and deeply beautiful. The mysterious woman always carries secrets, not the small, gossipy kind, but deep, soulful secrets. They are the stories of her scars, the maps of her inner landscapes, the knowledge she has gathered from walking in the dark places of the world. Her eyes hold the memory of ancient things, of moons and tides and the turning of seasons. She does not offer up her story easily, not because she is unkind, but because she knows that sacred things must be earned. To know her story is a privilege, a key given only to those who have proven they can be trusted with the fragile, powerful soul of another. Her essence is one of depth. She is not the shallow stream that babbles in the sun. She is the deep, dark well from which you can draw cool, life-giving water. She is connected to the intuitive, the unseen, the magical. She understands the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, for she has lived them many times within her own spirit. She is the keeper of the soul's mysteries, the guardian of the inner flame. To be in her presence is to feel that there is more to the world than what we see on the surface. A hidden magic that is both thrilling and a little bit dangerous. She reminds us of the wild, untamed world that lies just beneath our own skin. We have all met the mysterious woman before, even if we did not know her name. She appears in our stories, a shadow moving at the edge of the firelight. Think of the character Vianne Rocher from the story Chocolat. She arrives in a quiet town on the wind, bringing with her the secret magic of chocolate, a knowledge passed down through her lineage. She is independent, opening her own shop against the town's rigid rules. She is quiet but powerful, changing the lives of the townspeople not with loud speeches, but with the subtle, sensual magic she offers. Vianne holds her past close, a story of wandering and belonging only to herself. Another powerful echo of this archetype is found in the character of Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings. She is an ancient and powerful elven queen, living deep within a protected forest. Her stillness is immense, her knowledge vast. She sees into the hearts of those who come to her, perceiving their fears and their deepest desires. Galadriel holds the secrets of ages, the memory of light and of darkness. She is independent, a ruler in her own right, her power separate from any other. When she speaks, her words are few, but carry the weight of mountains and the wisdom of stars. A true embodiment of soulful mystery. Even in older tales she is there. Consider the Greek goddess Hecate, the goddess of magic, witchcraft, the night, and the crossroads. She is a figure of immense power who walks between the worlds. She is often depicted as solitary, holding the keys to the underworld and the secrets of life and death. Hecate is not a goddess who sits on a shining throne on Olympus. She is found in the liminal spaces, the places of transition and mystery. She is a guide for the soul in the dark, her presence a reminder of the power that lies in the shadows, in the places that polite society often fears to tread. These examples show us that the mysterious woman is not just one type of person. She can be a healer, a queen, a witch, or a simple shopkeeper. What unites them is their connection to an inner world that is rich, deep, and largely hidden from view. They are self-reliant, holding their own power without apology. They move through their stories with a quiet confidence that changes everything around them. By seeing her in these tales, we begin to recognize her shape in the world, and perhaps we begin to recognize the spark of her that lives within our own wild hearts, waiting for us to claim it. Why are we so drawn to this woman of shadows and secrets? What is the source of her magnetic pull? It is because she represents the unknown, the part of life that is not yet mapped or categorized. In a world that often demands we explain ourselves, that we be open books with easy-to-read pages, she is a locked diary. Her presence is a promise of discovery, a suggestion that there are still wonders left in the world. She awakens our curiosity, that wild, childlike part of us that wants to explore the dark forest, to peek behind the closed door, to know what secrets the moon keeps. The mysterious woman is inspiring because she embodies a deep and quiet form of power. Her strength is not in her fists or in a loud voice, but in her soul. It is the power of self-knowledge, of being so rooted in your own being that the opinions of the world are like wind in the trees. You can hear them, but they do not move you. This is a kind of power that, honestly, many of us crave. It is an internal authority, a sovereignty over one's own inner kingdom. She inspires us to cultivate our own inner gardens, to find strength not from outside validation, but from the deep, quiet earth of our own being. She also represents freedom. Her independence is a call to our own wild nature, the part of us that longs to run free, unburdened by the expectations of others. She is a symbol of the soul that has not been tamed by society. She lives by her own rules, trusts her own instincts, and walks her own path, even if she must walk it alone. This is incredibly appealing in a world that often tries to put us in boxes, to define us before we have had a chance to define ourselves. The mysterious woman whispers to us that it is okay to be different, to be a puzzle, to be a wild thing. Ultimately, she captivates us because she is a mirror for our own hidden depths. When we look at her, we are not just seeing a character in a story, we are seeing a reflection of the mysterious parts of ourselves. We all have secret gardens in our souls, places that no one else has ever seen. We all have a quiet wisdom, a wild instinct, a story that is uniquely ours. The mysterious woman gives us permission to honor that inner world. She reminds us that our depths are not something to be feared or hidden, but something to be cherished, a source of incredible strength, beauty, and magic. The mysterious woman is more than just an intriguing character. She is a teacher for the soul. The first great lesson she offers is the value of inner stillness. In our noisy, frantic world, she teaches us to cultivate a quiet space within. She shows us that we do not always need to speak, to explain, to perform. There is immense power in listening. To ourselves, to others, to the whispers of the world. By embracing silence, we can begin to hear the voice of our own intuition, the deep, knowing part of us that always knows which way to go. She teaches us that our soul's wisdom is often found not in the noise, but in the hush. From her, we also learn the art of self-possession. The mysterious woman belongs to herself, first and foremost. This is a radical act in a world that often asks us to belong to a job, a family, a community, or a partner before we belong to ourselves. She teaches us to be the primary keepers of our own soul, to guard our energy, and to know our own worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. This does not mean cutting ourselves off from others, but rather, it means that we engage with the world from a place of wholeness, not from a place of neediness. We learn to be our own sanctuary. She also teaches us to honor our own stories, especially the parts that are scarred or secret. The mysterious woman does not hide her past out of shame, but out of reverence. She knows that our experiences, both light and dark, are sacred texts that have shaped us. She encourages us to spend time with our own history, to understand our wounds not as weaknesses, but as sources of wisdom and compassion. She teaches us that it is not necessary to share every part of our story with everyone. Some stories are just for us, holy relics that we keep in the treasure chest of our own hearts. Finally, the mysterious woman invites us to embrace the mystery within ourselves and in life. She reminds us that it is okay not to have all the answers, that some things are meant to be felt rather than understood. She gives us permission to be complex, to have contradictions, to be a work in progress. In her presence, we learn that our own hidden depths are not a flaw, but our greatest gift. She is the wild soul within, calling us to step into the mist, to trust our instincts, and to dance with the beautiful, unknowable mystery of who we are. For in that mystery, we find our truest, most powerful self.